Okay, so today we're going to take a deep dive into something pretty controversial involving Elon Musk.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, so, back in 2025 at Trump's inauguration, Musk was there, and he did this weird gesture.
Okay.
It looked like a one-arm salute.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, palm down, and he did it twice.
Oh, wow.
And people just went nuts.
I bet.
Yeah, some were outraged, saying it was like a Nazi salute.
Right.
But others defended him and said people were overreacting.
Yeah, I can see how a simple gesture could get blown way out of proportion, especially with someone as polarizing as Elon Musk.
Yeah, for sure. And that's we're going to try to unpack today. What was the meaning behind this gesture? What does it tell us about Musk's, political leanings? Is there anything to read into, or was it just a weird, awkward moment?
Yeah, definitely lots to consider.
So first off, let's get into the specifics of the gesture itself. There were eyewitnesses who described Musk extending his right arm upwards,
Oh, right.
like diagonally with his palm facing down.
Uh-huh.
And like I said, he did it twice.
Interesting.
But what makes it even more confusing is he was facing different directions each time.
Really?
Yeah, and people are interpreting this in all sorts of ways.
Wow.
Like there are some historians, like Claire Aubin and Ruth Bankiat, they see it as like a straight-up Nazi salute.
Yeah, wow.
Especially given, the historical context of the inauguration and Trump and everything.
Right, right.
And I mean, I can see their point, that symbol, the Nazi salute,
Yep.
it has a lot of baggage.
Yeah.
A long history
Yep.
of hate and oppression.
Yeah, absolutely. It represents some of the darkest chapters in human history.
Exactly. And so to see something even remotely resembling it,
Mm.
It's bound to set off alarm bells.
For sure, for sure.
And then you have groups like the Anti-Defamation League.
Okay.
They're dedicated to fighting anti-Semitism, right?
Yeah.
And they actually didn't see it as a deliberate Nazi salute.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they called it an awkward gesture, but still concerning,
I see.
And then there's Benjamin Netanyahu.
Okay.
He actually defended Musk. He called him a friend of the Jewish people.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So why do you think Netanyahu would defend Musk, knowing how controversial this whole thing is?
Well, there could be a few reasons, right? Like maybe Netanyahu genuinely believes that Musk is a supporter of the Jewish community.
Right.
Maybe they have some kind of history or relationship
Yeah.
that we don't know about.
Okay.
Or, maybe it's more political.
Mm.
Musk is a powerful guy, has a lot of influence and resources.
Right.
So maybe Netanyahu sees him as a valuable ally, on the world stage.
Right.
And defending him, despite this controversial gesture,
Yeah.
could be a way of maintaining that relationship.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
So what about Musk himself? How did he react to all of this?
I'd imagine he had something to say.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Mhm.
He took to X, formerly Twitter.
Yeah.
And instead of directly addressing the gesture,
Yeah.
he kind of just mocked the accusations.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he framed it as like a political attack.
Interesting.
So he didn't really deny it or explain it.
Wow. So he's just kind of deflecting.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's a strategy, I guess.
And it kind of plays into, some of his other behavior recently. He's been pretty vocal about supporting right-wing figures and ideas.
Like what specifically?
Well, he endorsed the AfD in Germany,
The Nationalist Party.
Yeah, exactly. And he's also gotten pretty close with Trump. Even appeared at an AfD campaign event.
Wow.
Where he said some pretty controversial things about, German guilt and multiculturalism.
So how do you think this whole gesture incident fits into that larger pattern of aligning himself with the right?
Right. Well, I mean, it definitely seems to be part of a larger pattern of behavior, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it raises questions about what his intentions are, what message he's trying to send.
It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah. And, whether it was intentional or not, his actions have consequences.
For sure.
Especially with his platform and his influence.
Right.
So it's something we have to pay attention to.
Right.
It's definitely a complicated situation. We have these totally contrasting interpretations of this one gesture.
Right.
And the historical weight behind it.
Absolutely.
And then Musk's response,
Right.
which just adds another layer.
Exactly.
And then you tie that into his broader political shift, and it's like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack.
It really is.
I think this whole thing really highlights, the responsibility we all have.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to people like Musk who have, such a massive influence.
Right.
We need to really think critically about their actions and, consider the context.
Yeah.
And be willing to have, these difficult conversations.
Yeah.
And I think it also shows how easy it is for symbols to be misinterpreted.
Oh, yeah, especially these days.
Exactly. So we all need to, really try to understand history and be mindful of the impact our actions can have.
I think that's a great point to end on.
Yeah.
It's something we all need to think about. Thanks for joining me for this deep dive. It's been a really thought-provoking conversation.
Yeah, it has.
I hope our listeners will continue to explore this issue, and really engage with the complexity of it all.
Yeah, and think about the power of symbols and, the responsibility we all have in interpreting them,
Yeah.
especially in a world where things can be so easily twisted and manipulated.
Well said. Thanks again, and until next time.
Yeah.